KOMU 8 News starts now.
In just a couple of hours, they'll be switching from these glasses to these for that total solar eclipse. There are two types of micro-business licenses. The first is wholesale, which is for cultivation and manufacturing, and retail dispensary licenses. We'll get to that in a moment, but for now, I'll tell you how we got to today. You may recognize this. It's the instructions for an at-home COVID test kit. They say they're worried about people staying safe during the cold temperatures. The State Division of Cannabis Regulation revoked 9 licenses last round for not meeting standards, including 2 in Colombia. The state is also helping with preparations, with training videos like these. Tiger fans proved that they're ready to show up for the team this year, selling out Memorial Stadium 5 times this season. The city is asking all of the residents to make sure that their trash can fit in this can, to make sure that the lid is closed. We actually just talked to a snowplow driver who said that ice was one of the biggest concerns. Yeah, Taylor Union Station here was both the scene of triumph and tragedy yesterday. These streets were filled with hundreds of thousands of people yesterday who fled because of that active shooter. We were actually out here earlier when these streets were blocked off, and they were filled with personal belongings and garbage. But some of the people I talked to today say that the personal belongings don't matter as much as making sure that their loved ones were okay.
The only way that I can describe it is surreal.
A day meant for celebration turned violent.
When the rally was over, all we could hear were fireworks, or what we thought were fireworks, when in essence they were shots.
Jan Lay lives less than a block away from where it happened.
We were here for the Super Bowl parade last year, and the next morning everything was clean. When we woke up this morning, it looked like a battleground.
In the chaos, people left everything from tables, chairs, a grill, and a stroller. One woman says she lost a family heirloom.
One of the blankets was made by my husband's mother, who's passed away. And so that's an important thing that I want to keep in our family.
But the people who would have received that blanket are safe.
Well, you know what? As special as that blanket is, it is not more special or more important than my children that got home safe.
Kansas City Mayor Quentin Lucas says the violence is not Kansas City and does not define its future.
Here's the thing. We have a plan for a St. Patrick's Day parade in Kansas City. We have parades all the time. I don't think they'll end.
But Jan says the shooting will tarnish these events for her in the future.
I'll never go. I'll never go out in these things again.
The city says they have opened a lost and found if you have any personal belongings that you have still not collected. You can find more information on that on our website, KOMU.com. But for now, live in Kansas City, Elly Laliberte, KOMU 8 News.
Seeing complete darkness versus like 98%. That's why we came down here versus staying at home. We're from St. Peters, Missouri.
Minneapolis, Minnesota.
St. Louis.
Albia, Iowa. I had school today, but I decided to come here anyway.
It was actually a pretty big week at school. They have their Iowa State tests this week. My son's excited to try out his glow-in-the-dark baseball. He's a big baseball player. He wants to play catch with his dad in the dark.
Depends so much. I had no idea it was going to be that miraculous.
Something new for them, and I wanted to make sure my mom got to see it.
I'm 69 years old and I've never seen it before. And I know I'll never see it again. Birds were not singing, the street lights went on, it got dark, and then just to hear everybody cheering and be a part of that community, it was really cool.
Awesome! You definitely don't want to miss out on these things.
I just teared up because it was like such an incredible experience to have here with my family, and it was so beautiful.
It's a one-time thing.
Once in a lifetime?
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a lifetime experience.
We talked with the Castellos the day the gender-affirming care ban first went into place in August of last year. The family wants to make sure children like their 17-year-old transgender son feel heard in the community.
It breaks my heart. It absolutely breaks my heart.
Harry Castello's concerns over restrictions on transgender health care aren't new.
I need them to understand who my son is.
This year, state lawmakers introduced several bills that could affect the LGBTQ+ community. Brad Hudson is the sponsor of one of those bills that would further restrict gender-affirming care.
When it comes to sex changes and little kids, I think there are two things that should never go together. That is a hard stance that I'm taking, and no one's going to change my mind.
The Castellos and other mid-Missouri families want lawmakers to understand the effects those bills could have in their lives.
Making sure that we stop people in Jefferson City that have no idea what they're doing.
Having to go down and look at legislators in the eye and tell them my child is worthy of the same rights as your child is just, it's surreal.
How do we want to do this?
May Hall, a transgender activist, has also taken that to heart.
I have actually been down at the Capitol once a week, every week since the session started.
That's why they're all helping form the Central Trans Action Bloc.
I could not ask for a better group of people to be working with.
I want to know that we know who we are. For me, this coalition, me being part of this, is just providing as much education as possible, bringing as many different types of people together as possible.
The goal of the group is to rally and encourage others to show up at the city, county, and state level to advocate for LGBTQ+ rights.
Being trans is an incredibly lonely experience because at the end of the day, there really aren't that many of us.
And for Harry's 17-year-old son, Jay,
they would fight for me on the daily, and that would be their mission.
He doesn't want to be a trans boy.
Transgender rights are something they'll keep fighting for.
He's just a boy.
Hudson's bill is not yet on the House calendar. The bloc's next meeting will be April 4th. In the studio, Elly Laliberte, KMU 8 News.